When I got into motorcycles a little over 2 years ago, I had found something that I loved so deeply that I could only describe it as a passion. Whenever I would straddle my motorcycles and go off on my nightly rides, my mind, heart, and soul would be at peace. All that I had to focus on was just riding. No text messages, no deadlines that I had to meet, no one talking to me, no distractions, just riding. You can say that I had found my solace in motorcycles. But these last 2 years or so haven't always been easy. There are constant reminders and harsh realities that we must accept as motorcyclists, and the first one being always hearing from others that you're going to die or that motorcycles are just far too dangerous. I can't even begin to tell you the countless people I've come across in life that have always wanted to ride but stopped themselves simply because it was too dangerous. Look, I get it. As my dad once said, your only protection is your body when riding, whereas in a car, you're surrounded by effectively a metal cage, you have airbags that'll automatically deploy upon impact, and a seatbelt that will prevent you from propelling out of your car. Motorcycles are just inherently more dangerous, and there's no denying it. Looking at statistics alone, you're about 28 times more likely to die on a motorcycle than if you were in a passenger car. Still, to some of us crazy hoonigans, the risk versus reward ratio convinces us to continue riding. I've crashed once pretty badly on my R6 a couple years ago and got bombarded with comments from coworkers, friends, family members saying, "I told you so," or "See, this is why you should never ride," or one of my least favorite lines, "You got lucky this time, next time, you'll be dead." But the worst one I ever got from a certain someone telling me that, "I hope you get injured so badly you'll be disabled and have learned your lesson the hard way." Like, who says these kinds of things? Can anyone relate with me here? Anyways, to those naysayers, how about instead of bashing us when we're already down or when we're just trying to enjoy something that many of you wouldn't understand, pray for us to come back home every night safely, or at the very least, don't wish for anything bad to happen to us just for the sake of getting your point across. I've since disconnected myself from those people in my life. It's not that I wanted to continue riding for the sake of proving them wrong. After my accident, I continued to ride because it was my freedom to do so. You wouldn't tell a car guy to stop driving because he got into a really bad accident now, would you? Let alone tell him, "I told you so." So why do some people feel the need to bash us two-wheeling, machine-loving guys? Number 2, actually experiencing a close friend that has passed or got severely injured. In the same vein of the aforementioned point, there may be unfortunately a time when one of our brothers and or sisters gets severely injured or worse. This topic is not easy for any of you to digest, but if you're one of the lucky ones that have never experienced this, count your blessings. You're part of the minority. Otherwise, if you're like me and many other riders out there, we all know someone or a few that have passed or gotten disabled to the point that they just quit riding. Often, it wasn't even the biker's fault. From my interactions with others, it seems like both those who ride and those who don't ride can agree on one thing. It's not that we don't have faith in our riding aptitude, it's that we don't have faith in others on the road. If you or your riding buddies don't want to be part of a statistic, or at the very least reduce the odds of something terrible happening, ride like you're invisible. That way you're always prepared for the worst case scenario. Number 3, deciding when to hang up the helmet for good. This is a realization that I pondered on several occasions. This is a reality that we all must face as riders. Maybe this part to some of you whom especially enjoys riding fear more than even death itself. At some point, we're all going to hang up our helmet and gloves for good. It could be one reason or it could be a combination of reasons, but life changes drastically and well, so do we. I've had best friends quit riding because they grew out of that so-called biker phase. I had friends or coworkers quit because they started a family and or got married to a spouse that refuses to let them ride. Again, it could be a number of reasons and then some. The fact of the matter is, I'm willing to bet anyone out there that you'll be driving a car far longer than your last ride. So accept this reality and just enjoy every waking moment while it lasts. When we look back on our riding days, hopefully we look back and cherish those memories. Number 4, having no money and or time to enjoy motorcycles. Like many hobbies, motorcycles are expensive. They cost thousands or even tens of thousands to buy. Parts aren't cheap, servicing them isn't cheap, and insuring them can cost a fortune if you get full coverage on, say, a 1000cc Super Sport. The list goes on. For a few of you, at some point you'll think to yourself if the cost-benefit analysis of owning one is even worth it. And to some of us, maybe we just don't have enough time to enjoy them as much as we were hoping to. You may just end up selling your beloved machine and have to move on in life. Nothing wrong with this, it's just part of going through life. And my last point, number 5, having former bikers tell you that it's not worth it. I hate that I have to put this one on here. This point is more personal than anything because I just hate absolutely hearing it. I've had at least a couple dozen former riders from both sexes spanning multiple generations give me the old, "Oh, you're a rider? Yeah, I used to ride too, but..." And then they would proceed to tell me numerous reasons why they stopped riding, most of which pertain to the danger of riding. There was this one story that I'll never forget. My fiance's female teacher from a few years back got a Harley in her late 30s, had ridden it a few years, rode it across country, rode in massive groups, you name it. You could say she did everything she could with that bike. However, on one fateful day, she was riding carelessly fast on a busy highway and a semi didn't see her. She ended up having no escape path in mind because she was comfortable just cruising around town and ran off the road. She shattered her right leg, and to make matters worse, she nearly lost her life because her skull was cracked in 2 separate places. Had she worn a helmet, her surgeon was confident that she'd only have a concussion. The entire time she was telling this story, I couldn't help but pity her. But you know how you can quote-unquote read people's intentions simply by their demeanor, tone of voice, or perhaps maybe even the way they dress. Well, the energy that I was getting from her while she was telling me that it's not worth it, that it's never worth riding, was that she got into riding for all the wrong reasons. Mainly she got into riding because she thought it would make her look cool and draw attention towards herself. Had y'all heard her full story, it would have been quite apparent. In my honest opinion, you shouldn't get into riding if you're just looking to get looks. You should get into riding because you genuinely love the feeling of having a fire-breathing engine in front of your legs and have an appreciation for our two-wheeling pieces of engineering mastery that extends far beyond what superficial appeal that it may bring to you. To that lady, I hear you, and to former riders that may be watching this video telling others to stop riding while they can, believe me, I hear you. However, call me a stubborn kid, a naive kid, or whatever you'd like. I will never tell someone else that it's not worth it. It's their life and you shouldn't deny them something that they might enjoy. What's more, if you're willing to take the risk of riding, we will automatically have this affinity towards one another without even knowing one another. To this day, if there's one thing that I'll forever relish, even when my time comes to stop riding, it's that the motorcycling community is immensely strong. Despite all the memes of the Harley guys not giving us plebs the biker wave back, there's this universal respect that we all have for one another simply because we all chose this outrageous lifestyle. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing for more videos just like this. I'll definitely make a follow-up video about the hardest parts about being a car guy at some point in the near future. Until then, please stay tuned. Peace out.